Aloha, welcome back. So today we're going to be making a classic cocktail called the Rob Roy. It is said that this was invented before the turn of the century, the previous century, in 1894 by a bartender at the Waldorf Astoria in honor of an operetta coming to Broadway. Unlike the Manhattan, this one calls for scotch. It doesn't need to be your good single malt scotch. In fact, it shouldn't be. It should just be one of your nice blended scotch whiskeys. I really like scotch, but this stronger, peatier, smokier one, I'm going to put aside. Also, I'm going to be putting outside the martini glass because, again, this is not a martini and it's not a Manhattan. I was watching Blast from the Past, as you recall from my previous show, and I thought they were Manhattans because they were being served in this glass and they use a cherry garnish. But for this one, we're going to be using something called a Nick and Nora glass, and it's just to show you that it is a different cocktail, and it's a very different cocktail. People think that scotch and bourbon and rye are the same. They're not. They're all whiskey and they are all aged in barrels, but the flavor profiles are completely different. So the Rob Roy is really interesting, and honestly, I was drinking Manhattans a lot over the holidays because my friend invited me over to dinner and he had made some, and he actually made some on the rocks, which was a lot better than being served straight up because it's a bolder, more fuller flavor, and you're not diluting it so much. So for this drink, we're also going to put aside the shaker because you definitely don't want to shake this. So we'll be using this chilled Nick and Nora glass, as it's called, and this is really very simple. You just want 2 ounces of your blended Scotch whiskey, 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth. I prefer this more expensive one. I tried it with another brand that's supposed to be like the bartender's favorite, and I've tried it with the simple one you get for $7 a bottle. This one was about $12-13 a bottle, and it's a lot more flavorful and I enjoy it a lot. But we're only going to be using about 3/4 of an ounce of this. And a lot of reasons why people don't like vermouth-based drinks is because they open this and they let it sit on the shelf and the sun gets to it and the air gets to it, and after a month it's not the same. Keep it in the refrigerator, use it within a month, and I promise you'll love this. Now the ice cubes we're using, very simple. You could buy these in any kitchen store, Walmart, Kmart, whatever mart, and they're about 1.5 inches each. These are a little bit larger. And the mixing glass, not important. It could even be a pint glass. It could be one of these metal mixing tins because these glass ones tend to break very easily. But I really like the look and the sound and the feel of this, so I'm going to be using the standard glass. Just be very careful with these. Like I said, I'm on my 3rd one. They're not cheap. These are $35 each. This is about $1 in the 99-cent store, the dollar store, whatever you want to call it. And this one is very interesting. It's double-walled, it's insulated. I just don't like the sound when I'm mixing. I really enjoy this glass, and that's why I continue to buy it. And let's not forget the most important thing, which is the Angostura bitters. Now, it calls for 2 dashes. I like 2 or 3 good, healthy dashes of this. And now we simply just stir until it gets cold, and this is going to take about 30 stirs, or I don't know how many seconds. You can count if you want, but let's give it a shot. I feel it's starting to get cold. My fingers are starting to get numb. That's how I know it's ready. This calls for 2 cocktail cherries. Put that in the Nick and Nora glass. Strainer. Strain. Now you can put this in the drink, you can put it on the side, that's your preference. I don't know why they use 2. I would either use 1 or 3 because I'm Italian and the 3 is lucky, like the 3 coffee beans in a sambuca. But drop that in here and we're going to give it a sip. It's nice and cold. Feel how cold that is? You can barely hold it. That's how you want your drinks. And if you're worried about freezing out the flavors, don't, because after the first sip it's going to come up to temperature and it's going to be more enjoyable, and every time you take a sip, like a martini, it's going to be a new experience. Yeah, I like that. It's not a sweet drink. It's a very strong, boozy drink. A lot different than the Manhattan, not as sweet. Some people even garnish this with a lemon twist. I prefer that for my martinis. I could see how the old school people really like this. You get the punch of the scotch and the sweetness of the vermouth. Just mellows it out just a little bit. I could see why scotch drinkers like this. And if you get a bottle of scotch you don't really like and you want to do something, you want to experiment with mixing, this is the drink to do it with. A Rob Roy. No nonsense. Very strong, direct. If you're only having one, this is the drink to have. That is your Mixology 101. Cheers, mahalo, and see you again soon.